on another social media blog um, post I received from an individual who was a coach, which is common today, a lot of coaches out there. I'm experiencing a performance anxiety before my coaching session. What can I do about it? What can I do to kind of calm down my anxieties? Well, uh, you have core competence, an area of expertise and experience that is where you feel confident and certain. And when you go away from that, outside that, you're going to go and move into the imposter syndrome, I call it. Anytime you exaggerate yourself and sell hype or minimize yourself, you're not being yourself. And so all the symptoms of anxieties and emotions are feedback systems to get you back to your core competence, back to your authentic self. Every symptom in your business is trying to do that. If you get cocky and look down on your client and don't meet their needs, they withdraw, and you get feedback to let you know that you're exaggerating yourself and minimizing them and being careless instead of caring. If you minimize yourself and exaggerate them and then try to please them for fear of loss of them, you're now going to say, dang, I deserve better than that. And then you're going to sacrifice you for them. And you'll be careful walking on eggshells. If you have a balanced orientation, caring, where you're now caring about what your objectives are and you're also meeting their needs, you have the most sustainable fair exchange in the growth of the coaching business. So you won't have anxiety there because you're now being authentic. You're now in your core competence. You also have a hierarchy of values. And whatever's highest on your value is where you have the most epistemological excellence. That's where your most knowledge is. Whatever's low in your value, you have least knowledge. You love learning what's important to you, but you don't want to learn the things that are not. So anytime you go and try to go and be somebody you're not in order to get clients, instead of being true to yourself and becoming a specialist in what you love, and then expanding that and growing that and expanding your knowledge methodically, um, if you try to go outside that core competence, you're going to get symptoms out there and you're going to have anxiety. If you start with what you know and let what you know grow, you have less anxiety. If you are able to say, thank you, I don't know, but I'll find out, you'll have less anxiety. If you're not trying to put on the air of somebody that's, you know, cocky or proud or know-it-all or whatever, and just say, I'm there to serve you and I'm there to find the answers. I will look it up if I don't know and get back to you. You won't have anxiety. But if you start to think that they're more important than you or less important than you, you're going to create anxiety. Anxiety about, because now they're withdrawing and they're not meeting their needs, or you're sitting there and walking on eggshells. So give yourself permission to stick to what's priority. Give yourself permission to be authentic. Go and stick with your core competence. You know, there's many things we can do in our life, but the area that our expertise is where we want to focus if we want to have a maximum return. And then expand it. Study that and study the periphery around it. Keep expanding the peripheral awareness around it, but link it back to that highest priority. Anytime you want to learn something, if you link it by asking how specifically is studying this new topic helping me fulfill what's most important to me, and link it to your mission, link it to your highest level of competency, you'll expand that. You'll attract clients that match that. You won't have anxiety about it because you know about it, because what you study and you really are up on, you attract clients that match that. And if you realize if they have a trait that you admire, look up to, go. If you're intimidated by them in any way, then go, so you're not minimizing yourself, go and ask, where do I display and demonstrate the same behavior? Because if you do, you'll find out you have the same thing you see in them. You can't admire something and be intimidated by somebody that you think has something you don't without you having it, but you're too humble to admit it. So go and find out. I had a lady that was frightened about public speaking. And they asked her to do a speech, and she froze up on stage, and I was there. And I got up, and I walked up to her, and I said, I put a little circle, a piece of paper in a circle, and like a toilet tube, toilet paper tube. And I had her go and look at, who in the audience are you intimidated by, right? She goes, this lady. I said, what is it you think she has that you don't have? Well, she seems more academic and more knowledgeable, and I'm talking on a topic, and I think I'm intimidated by her because she's here. I said, great. Now, where do you have what you see in her? And I made her go through and go and look at what she had. She had knowledge in her own experiences about her own life that the lady would never know. And I said, stick to the core story that you relate to, because she doesn't know that. You know that story. And then look at what you do know and start with what you know. Anyway, when she got through and she owned what she saw in the lady and where her confidence was and stuck to that, she didn't have the fear of speaking. So if you're intimidated by somebody, go and find out what the trait that you admire in them, find out where you have it inside you, because you can't admire it without it being there. Whatever you see in others, you have. You just think you don't have it. You're too humble to admit it, but it's there. Wake it up. You won't be intimidated, and you'll stick to your core competence and won't put on the imposter syndrome trying to fake it. And you'll be able to be yourself, and you won't have the anxiety. That's one of the reasons I teach that in the breakthrough experience, how to own the traits of the greats. So you're no longer intimidated and no longer looking up or down on people. You're looking across to people and opening your heart to people. When you do that, you don't have these anxieties. You just have service, and you're in sustainable fair exchange, and you're back to authenticity. And all the symptoms in your life are trying to get you back to that. And if you know how to interpret the symptoms in your life and see that that's what it's doing, if you just get back to priority and get back to authenticity and stick to what your real core competence is, the area of your epistemological, excellence and purposeful teleological purpose and your ontological identity, stick to that, you're going to not have anxieties. Anxieties are a feedback mechanism to guide you to authenticity and to your excellence.